Anything that makes you weak physically, intellectually, and spiritually. Anything that makes you weak physically, intellectually, and spiritually, reject it as poison. Reject it as poison. By Swami Vivekananda. Hi everyone, this is Akshay, Faculty of Mathematics, Vivek Vidya Youth Forum, New Delhi. In this particular video, we will be introducing a topic of quadratic equation. Rather, we can say a method to solve quadratic equations. And this method as a whole comprises of unit 2 of the chapter quadratic equations. So let's get started with the methodology of solving quadratic equation by factorization method. There are many methods to solve quadratic equations, such as taking square root, completing the square, and then using quadratic formula. One more method is which is more familiar for a student of mathematics. From its grade 7, we have learned factorization procedure of finding the factors we have learned in our lower grades. So using that procedure of finding the factors in our chapter of quadratic equations, we will be solving few quadratic equations into simple form, finding the value of the unknown. So, as a nutshell, what is this method of factorization? By writing the quadratic equation as a product of two linear factors and then equating each of the linear factors to 0. Writing the quadratic equation in the form of product of two linear factors and equating the linear factors into 0. Equating the linear factors to 0. Then let us see the steps involved over here. There is not much what to write on the screen, so I have not written much. So steps involved. Steps involved. Step number 1, factorize the quadratic equation and write it as product of two linear factors. Let me just write down the steps only. Make a note of the steps. Factorize the quadratic equation and write it as, oh, this is not writing properly. Just a minute. Factorize the quadratic. Equation. Factorize the quadratic equation and write it has product of and write it as product of to linear factors. Linear factors. I think it's writing properly. Just children. Linear factors. This is done mostly by splitting the middle term. This is done. This is done. This is done. Mostly by splitting the middle term. Splitting the middle term. This is done mostly by splitting the middle term. Equate each factor to 0 and solve for x. Equate. Let me not just write it over here. Equate I don't know what's happening with this, but manage with it. Whatever I'm saying, whatever I'm dictating, write it down. Equate each factor to 0. Each factor to 0. Then solve for x. Then solve for x. Then solve for x. Concepts will become more clear once if we start solving the example numericals. In example numericals, I will write step-by-step explanation so that you make it easy, you feel it easy, comfortable to understand. While solving the exercise numericals, I will skip away few steps and I will write only few important steps in which the marks is at the major point. And thank you. Thank you for watching the video. In the next video lecture, we will come about with few more example numericals with solving the quadratic equations using factorization method. Hope you have all understood the concepts taught in this video lecture. Do share this video. Do like this video. Post your doubts using the comment window. I will always answer it out. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.